I'm prospecting a lake with live bait and lures. Hi, my name's Roger Osborne. In today's video, I'm out on my local lake. I'm just having some fun. I'm exploring. I've got some beautiful little live mullet and a variety of soft plastics. And I've also got my brand new depth sounder, which I'm keen to test and just have a bit of fun with that, looking for the fish. While I'm doing this, I'm going to explain everything that I'm doing, what I'm thinking, what my methods and strategies are, and the rigs that I'm using. Stick around to the end for a free PDF download which will outline some vital keys from today's session. If you're enjoying these videos, I really appreciate it. If you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It's absolutely free. Thanks so much. Let's get into it. It's so good to be out on the water. I love it. You know, I've got some luscious live mullet that I caught that I can use for bait, and live mullet are such a wonderful bait for flathead. They're just epic. I fish a lot off the shore with live mullet, but a very, very good way of fishing with live mullet when you're in a boat is to actually drift with them. So you're putting your live mullet over the side, you're just going to drift along with the current, and you're dragging that fish along, and you're actually covering a fair bit of ground doing that. So what my plan is in this little session today is I'm going to put 2 live mullet out the back, stick them in the rod holder and just let them do their thing. I'm just going to tow them along behind the boat. I've put some slightly heavier sinkers on because you don't want to have a sinker that's too light. You need to keep your bait on the bottom. And I've made my leaders quite long just to give the mullet a bit of room to swim. And while I'm towing those mullet with the wind, I'm going to be flicking some soft plastics. So I can actually do 2 things at the same time. I can have some fresh bait out and fish with plastics. So first thing to do is grab a mullet and chuck it on. I'm just going to get one of my rods. Now you can see I'm actually using a 4-0 hook. You can see where how far it is between my sinker and my hook. It's a good metre probably. So I've got a reasonably long leader. When you drift this way with mullet, the best thing to do is hook them through the mouth. Sometimes I hook them a different way when I'm fishing from the shore, but I'm going to grab a mullet if I can catch one, that is. I don't have a little net to grab it with, so I've got to stick my hand into the live bait tank and hope they seek refuge in my hand. Oh, I got one. Okie dokie, so I've got my live mullet here. And I'm going to gently put the hook in his mouth and put it through his upper jaw. Just got to be a little bit gentle, I don't want to kill him. Hook it through there like that. You can see he's hooked through the mouth, nice and lively. Now I'm drifting with the wind, so I'm heading that way, so I'm just going to pop him over the side. Yeah, he looks great. Just lower him down to the bottom. Now when you do these drifting runs, every so often you obviously got to, once you get close to shore, you might need to reposition, which will happen with me relatively soon. And I want to leave a little bit of an angle on the line. I don't want it straight down over the side of the boat. So I'm just getting a little bit of line out. Make sure that my drag is set so that if a decent fish grabs it, it can pull a little bit of line. And I'm just going to sit that guy in there and let him do his thing. Then I'm going to grab a second rod and do the same thing. And my plan is to just try a few spots. And hopefully the wind does the right thing and just blows me in a consistent direction. I would really appreciate that. The leader I'm using is a 16-pound fluorocarbon. Just get back down over here, grab another mullet, and then while these are out there, I will prospect with some soft plastics. Okay, so he's ready to go. Going to drop him over here. Just a little bit of actually I might flick him out just away from the boat a bit. Okay, I've hit the bottom, test the drag, and I'll put that guy in there. Now, I already have a plastic rigged on this rod. This is a really light rod. It's only a 1 to 3 kilo rod. It's got 8-pound braid on it and a 6-pound fluorocarbon leader. This is just a Squidgy's Wriggler. which have been quite a perennial soft plastic, catch lots of fish on them. They're pretty consistent. So I've got these lines out that side of the boat, and while that's going on, I'm pretty blessed actually, because I can cast towards the shore or the shallower water and then just fish. I just relax, wait for my drag to go off behind me. That'd be good. Just going to fish a plastic. I'll probably try a couple of different plastics just to see, you know, sometimes one works better on a particular day. I have a soft plastic that really looks like a baby mullet that I've done very well with on a lot of occasions, so I may swap over to that one soon, but I'll have a few casts with this one in the meantime. I'm just letting that soft plastic sink down to the bottom, and once it hits the bottom, I'm just giving it a couple of little flicks. You can do like a really big flick if you want and then let it sink back down again, or you can just give it a few little flicks. It's just mimicking a fish kind of, you know, moving around on the bottom. The water's a little bit murky, it's a little bit brown. We've had a fair bit of rain. I'm just switching over to this soft plastic, which is called a smelt. I've caught a lot of fish on this soft plastic. It really does look like a little poddy mullet. Yeah, so this one's a watermelon pearl. I've caught hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of fish on this particular plastic. Now the water is a bit dirty, so I figure that more brightly coloured plastics would do well. I'm going to take this guy off and I'm going to put this little mullet on first, and then I do have some other brightly coloured plastics as well. But I think I'll try the mullet before I try the bright ones. See, I've just got him on there. It doesn't really look like much, does it? It's just a little tiny little thing. But you'd be amazed. I caught an 88 centimetre flathead on that, on 6 pound line. It was amazing. It was an epic fight. It was really good. So I can see fish in the water. You know, I can see a lot of fish in the water. I think they're big mullet, or when I say big mullet, you know, roughly 30 centimetres long, but I think there's a lot of bait fish in the water just here. That would be such an attractor for mulloway. I did see some big fish mark on my sounder before, which is always exciting, but there's definitely a lot of bait fish around. So that kind of puts you on edge a little bit, knowing that it's a great thing that there's so much bait there. My soft plastic doesn't replicate the bait though. It's much bigger, the bait that's in the water. But we'll see how we go. Well, this has been a good little drift. I've drifted from the deep water up towards the shallows, and there's a whole bunch of crab pots. I've never seen so many out here, and a buoy just over there, but I've managed to avoid everything and just kind of drift nicely through here. I think I've lost one of my live mullet because the rod started moving erratically and then just stopped. So I think when I check those lines in a minute, I'll probably be minus a mullet. I haven't had a hit on the plastic yet. I'm still using the little smelt minnow, but I may change up to a brighter colour like a nuclear chicken type colour with the, you know, the red and the green. Just because the water is kind of that, it's not full on brown, it's halfway between kind of clear and brown. But I'm definitely in a good area here because I'm just on the edge of a drop off, which is just a nice place to be. Just haven't had any hits on the plastic yet. Don't really feel anything. Maybe I've just got a piece of weed. I don't know what's going on. Oh, I've got a fish though. I do have a fish. They've had a bite on this line. I'm going to grab the net. This is our target species today. So my first couple of baits out, he's not huge, although he's pulling a little bit more now, is a flathead. Okay, so I've got a flathead there. He's swallowed the mullet. You can see, can't even see the hook. So he would be 10, 20, 30. He's about 38 centimetres, so he's legal size. Legal size is 36, so he's a bit more than that. He's probably more like 39, close to 40 centimetres, so I'm going to keep him because we love eating our flathead. So that's good. I got a flathead on the first two. I've thrown 2 mullet while I've been drifting along and flicking the plastics, and that one's done the job. I haven't checked the other one yet, but I always keep I keep a dive glove with me in my boat because it just makes a big difference handling flathead. Don't really want to get spiked, and I can see I'm going to have to find the hook and retie it because I'm sure it'll be quite frayed. I've got a 16-pound leader, which, you know, you're really pretty safe with a 16-pound leader for flathead. I don't think you're really going to get bitten off. You'd have to have one on for a long time, and he'd have to be shaking his head and seesawing it over the line. So you're pretty safe with that. I don't normally use any heavier than that if I'm fishing for flathead with live bait. Yeah, he's totally engulfed that mullet. So I'm going to get the hook out. Yeah, I can't actually feel any fraying on there. So I brain spiked that flathead and then bled him, and I was able to remove the hook. But you know what? I've got virtually no fraying on that. I can feel very little kind of fraying at all, so I think I'd be happy to actually use it. Oh, there's a little bit just there. No, I'll retie it, I think. You never really want any kind of weaknesses in your fishing line. That's why you test to see if there's any sort of, if it's been cut at all, or if it's frayed, because the last thing you want to do is toss this out and just hook a really awesome fish, play it, have it right near the boat, and then all of a sudden lose it because the line's weakened and the line breaks in that frayed spot. So therefore I'm much better off not risking it, cutting it off, and then just retying it, and then I can be totally confident that I'm going to just have the best chance of catching a fish. I'm just going to put this guy on the traditional way because I'm only drifting very slowly. Just going to do a reverse flick. Just flick him out there. All right, well that was good. So now I'm just going to check my other line. I have a feeling I won't have a mullet on this one because it definitely had a bite. Yeah, there's not a flathead sitting on it. Hang on, I haven't lost my bait. Look, it's still alive actually. Look at that, he's still going fine. So he was covered in weed though. I've tossed that one out further, so I'm just going to let this guy drop to the bottom. Let a little bit of slack line out. Make sure that the drag is not too tight. Pull up that slack line there, and I'll stick him in the holder. Then I'll continue to have a fish with my plastic. So that's one flathead to the live mullet, and so far no flathead to the soft plastics. But still early days. Oh, I'm on. Oh, that was a good hit actually. This is on that little smelt minnow, and it feels a bit bigger. Feels a bit bigger than that flathead I just caught. Oh, I think I'm going to need the net. Ooh, this is exciting. Well, the net's there, so I can grab that. Man, this guy's pulling. Ooh. I think it's a flathead, but I think it's a bit bigger than the last one. Just got to be careful because I've only got light line. I can't see it yet, so it might not be a flathead because it's quite lively. Could be a decent bream or something. Oh, it's a big bream. Wow, cracker. Oh, he's a beast. He's a good one. Well, he's not a beast, but he's pretty good. Wow. What a great fight on light tackle. Oh, look at that. Here he comes. Just getting him up near the surface now. Here he comes. See that water? Is that quite coffee-coloured water? Oh, look, I've jagged him in the head. Wow. I could feel him having a go at the plastic. He was knocking at it. Oh, come here. Oh, look at that. Now that is a beautiful bream. That's a really nice bream. Look at that. That's a beautiful bream, hey? He was definitely having a good whack at that little minnow. I find with those little minnows that you catch quite a variety of fish. I've caught plenty of beautiful flathead on them, and bream like this. I've also caught snapper. But that is just a beautiful eating size bream, that one. So the mullet and the soft plastics are 1-1 at the moment. You know, the question is, I just caught a really cracking bream on one of these minnows, but I've also got these ones here, which are a paddle tail in the nuked chicken glow. So the question is, do I flip over to a nuked chicken glow? I think I might go the nuked chicken, because even though I caught a fish on the minnow, that's the first bite I've had on the minnow. And I do know flathead like these, so, I mean, as well as the minnow, but I may as well mix it up and whack on one of these nuked chickens, I think. I'm only using a 1/8 jig head. The size hook is a 1/0. That's what I just caught that bream on, but the lead is only 6 pounds, so it's fairly light. So I'm just going to whack this guy on, poke him on. That's what my kids used to watch, Pokemon. See, the hook is not massive, although there's enough barb sticking out there to do the work, so I'm going to give that a go. It's important when you're fishing plastics, you must let them sink to the bottom and hit the bottom. And depending on the depth of water, obviously it can take longer when the water's deeper. Oh, I think that was the bottom then. Oh, what was that? I hooked something quite solid then, but it was probably a snag or something. I don't think it was a fish. I have another cast out there. Oh, what's going on? That was weird. I think I need to pull my lines in because I'm pretty much drifting onto the shore. Oops. I've managed to avoid the all the crab pots which are everywhere by a miracle. You can see here on my depth sounder, that's not meters, that's feet. 1.3 feet, so I think I'm actually going to have to get out of the boat and push myself off. I've got no mullet on this one, so my mullet got knocked off. I've got an empty hook on this rod, but I'm going to need to get myself off this sandbar. So that'll be my focus. I'll just pull my plastic line in and jump out of the boat, because the motor is actually stuck on the bottom. So I'm just going to do that. So my motor is actually, the leg of my motor is on the sand. So I'm going to jump out and idle away from the shore. And I think I might try a different spot. This mullet is now a dead bait, but dead baits work well as well, so I won't waste him. And now I'm going to jump out. Actually, I might just lift this up a little bit. Just lift that motor up a little bit. See ya. Oh! Come back. I'm going to push myself out nose first. Well, it's actually not that shallow here. It's over my knees. There's a lot of stingrays in these waters, so got to stay away from them. Okay, time to get out of here. I'm kind of off the end of a big shallow sandbar area. I'm going to go around the other side and do a drift on the opposite side to where I am. Because I may as well. There's no one over there. But there's a couple of boats here, so I'm going to just idle past them. I always like to respect other fishermen. When I'm fishing, I'd like to think that people would just, you know, not make a lot of noise and not scare the fish. So that's the last thing that I want to do to somebody else, is I just quietly idle away, and I don't go fast until I'm a long distance from them. Actually, oh, that guy's pulling up a crab pot over there. Now for this drift, now I think I'm going to do a reversey, because before I started in the deep water and drifted onto the shore, got 2 fish, but now I'm going to go up into the shallows and trust that the wind's going to blow me off the shallows and into the deeper water. Well, sort of. That's the general plan, depending on which way. The wind is a bit fluky, it's a little bit light, but I can see with the sounder, that's the beauty of a sounder, you're just guessing the depth. You don't really know unless you're able to get all this extra information. So I'm getting right close to the drop off now, and I can see there's a lot of bait fish here. So I reckon I'm going to stop about here. I'm just going to reverse just a little bit. You can see at the moment, you can see that edge there where it's coming from deeper to shallow. You can see it's 9 feet deep. You remember they're feet, not meters. There's a little FT up there, so it's only 9 foot deep. So I'm starting off in relatively shallow water. I see 8.8. I don't mind if I drift across the edge of the sandbar a bit. I don't mind if I drift across the shallows a bit. I don't want to get right up on top of the sandbar. Just want to kind of stay in this zone. I just think I might have to reverse a little. Just go back just a fraction. Because I've still got a bit of momentum. I can see with my boat I've got a bit of momentum that's just gently carrying me onto the sandbar a bit more. And I don't want to be right on it, I want to be on the edge. I want to be right on that edge, which I can see I'm going to be in a better spot. But now I've got momentum going that way, I'm going to put my motor in forward for a second, just to store my reverse momentum. And now I'll turn it off. Yeah, I think it's a better spot here. So now I'm going to get that mullet which died, which is still a good bait. But now that the mullet is dead, I'm still going to hook it through the mouth, because it'll make it look like it's swimming forward if I do that. So this mullet's not alive, but I've just hooked him through underneath the jaw and up through the head. And the momentum in the boat will just gently pull him along. And we'll see if anything wants to grab him. And with all these other mullet, I can see so much. Actually, you can see all the movements of the fish. Now, if you look there, see that on the surface of the water? There's a lot of bait fish there. Bit of a sun shower happening, a localised rain event. I can see the blue sky in the distance, but it's just started raining just here. Oh yeah, that was a bite then. I saw it go like that. I mean, a big flathead will just come up and swallow it. That's probably bream or something. That is, if I've got any bait left. It's a fun way to fish doing this. You know, you can flick lures and have a couple of nice baits out there, drifting along. I've had a couple of fish grab my plastic near the boat, I think like tailor would, but they haven't really connected. There's some fish that have been hitting it while I've been winding it in. Only 2.4 feet deep here, so I need to get out of here, it's too shallow. So I'm just reversing off the sandbar. I've only got 1 dead mullet left. I only brought 5 live mullet out with me, which is not many. I would like to have had more actually, but that's okay. I've still got 1 that's dead, which I'm going to chuck out, and I'm just going to have a few more flicks. Just going to move to a slightly different spot and have a few more flicks with the plastic. So far the nuked chicken hasn't had a decent bite. I did catch that really solid bream on the minnow, but the nuked chicken's been quiet so far. But I'll keep persevering with the nuked chicken, I think. Beautiful time of the day right now. A little bit of a rainbow up there, it's cool. It's just a stunning afternoon. This last mullet might still strike it rich. Just going to put him out behind the boat. I think I'll have a few casts with the nuked chicken, and then I might flip back over to the mullet-like minnow, I think. I've whacked the minnow back on because the nuclear wasn't working. We'll see how we go with the minnow now. I'm on. Oh, got off. Actually had a fish on then. First cast back with the minnow. Might have been a small flathead. Chuck it out again. Yep, I momentarily had a fish. Oh, yep, I'm on. So this is on the minnow again. So I was fishing with the nuked chicken and I wasn't getting any bites. My first cast back with the minnow, I had a fish that I lost. Now I've got a fish here. You can see him, he's near the boat. It's just not a huge flathead, but you can see him there. He's got that minnow in his mouth. So you can see that lure there. Now I'm just going to get in the net, lift him up. See, the minnow really mimics a small mullet very well. You can see there that minnow there in his mouth. I'm going to get the glove. The glove of niceness. So I'm going to let this flathead go, but just going to be able to hold him down with the glove. Oops. Man, he leapt over my foot. Hopefully I don't have any fraying on my line. Get out of there. I'm just going to drop him over the side because my line's slightly tangled around him. So there he goes. There's no fraying on my line, but the minnow's pretty hacked up. He's kind of a bit split open. Not going to stay on the hook that well, so I'm going to put another one on. We need to be back closer to the shore, but I might let this sink down. How deep is it? 23 feet. It's quite deep here. It's a spot where you might get a mulloway. There's a lot going on down there. I'm on. I just dropped it over the side of the boat. I was looking at the sounder and I could see fish under the boat, so I actually just dropped this plastic straight over the side. What I've got though, what it is, oops, is a tailor. I can see why the tailor would like these minnows, because they just look like totally like a little perfect bait fish. Thankfully the hook's in his mouth and he hasn't frayed my line, so however he just totally demolished that little minnow that was on there. They call these bluefish in the USA and shad in South Africa. So I could see some fish down there. Tell you what, mulloway love tailor. Tailor is one of the best baits for mulloway. Yeah, look at that mullet in there, and they'll probably go for it. Oh, something! See, he took it. I got that mullet hanging over the side, and the small tailor are having a go at it. Oh, nearly got. Look at that! I had this little mullet, and I dangled it over the side. A tailor's chopped it in half. So we'll see if we can get one on the second half. Yeah, something grabbed it. Yeah, look, he's picked it up in his mouth. Oh, there you go. Oh, look at that tailor. That is a baby tailor. Ooh. Now that would make a cracking live bait if you could use them. I reckon all the mulloway in this lake would have a party with those. It's obviously a tailor nursery in here. Off you go, buddy. Well, that's the end of my mullet baits anyway, so I will chuck that in to feed them. Don't think that'll last long, and I'm just going to have a little bit more of a fish because I've got a couple of bites. Might get another flathead, I think, but I'm out. The water's too deep where I am here. I need to go a bit closer to shore. So yeah, it's just way too deep. I'm sort of right out in the middle of nowhere out here. 25 feet right here. Yeah, now there's the breeze has picked up a fair bit, so it's gonna blow me away from the shore pretty quickly. But I'll get a few casts in before the wind takes me into the middle of nowhere. There you go. That's the sort of thing that tailor do to your soft plastics. Well, these ones anyway. Not going to catch anything like that. Next cast, same thing. The tail chopped off. Oh, I'm on. This feels like another flathead to me. A little bit of weight in it. On the minnow again. What do we got? Oh, look at that. It's not a flathead, it's a flounder. Look at that. Look at that flounder. What a cracker. I'm going to lift him in, and I'll risk losing him by doing that, but I'll just lift him in. It's not a huge flounder, but he's big enough to keep. My wife loves flounder. She's always really happy when I catch flounder. I just scale it on both sides, pull the little bit of guts out, and then you just pan fry it and you pull the flesh straight off it. Beautiful. If you'd like a free PDF download of some vital keys from today's session, hit the link in the corner or in the description below. Well, I'm going to head home now. Had a wonderful time out here on the water, got a couple of nice eating fish, and let a couple of fish go as well. Could have done with a few more live mullet, but thank you so much for watching this video. I trust that you've learnt a few little tips as I've been sharing that with you. I want to get back out on the lake and do some more drifting with live mullet because it really is a great thing to do and catch some awesome fish. So I'll see you guys really soon in the next video.